Hello everyone and welcome to another Keep Safe on the Net video on YouTube. A few weeks ago I made a video about the stories told to me via the website of people who had been taken in by romance scammers. In this video we're going to look at even more of the stories that I've been told over the years. A few years ago a reader sent me this email. It says, "Recently I was invited on Skype by a guy named Michael Cole, who claimed that he is working as a sailor in the sea and has a son who is in the boarding school in London. The name of the son is alleged to be Adam. I have attached the conversation that triggered my suspicion and also attach his pictures and the pictures of the so-called son. Please publish this story as I do not want other people to be victims." Before we go any further, let's look at the two red flags that immediately stand out from the email that my reader sent me. 1. The scammer claims that he's working as a sailor at sea. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't genuine sailors on dating websites, of course there are, but I suspect that they would start by telling you which ship that they're on and which company or which of the armed forces they work for. The most common stories that the scammers tell are either that they're at sea for some reason, they're a sailor or they're an engineer, or they're in the armed forces serving somewhere in the Middle East. The second red flag is the claim that he has a son who is in boarding school. Most romance scammers will tell you that they have children that they can't be with for some reason or another, and very commonly they will claim that they're in boarding school. At some stage in the scam, it's very common for these fictitious children to be used as the reason for asking their victim for money. And that's exactly what happened in this case. The scammer messaged my reader and said, "I got mail from our son and my friend I mailed yesterday. I'm worried, honey. Did our son mail you today?" Notice that at this stage in the scammer was already referring to our son, not his son, playing on the victim's emotions and treating her as his son's mother. My reader had received an email from the so-called son and replied, A is panicking about the money and the trip. There was a prolonged exchange where the scammer repeatedly tried to get my reader to send him money, saying, "Honey, please, you are all I have now, please." He was asking for £1,000, and my reader started to get suspicious when it seemed that the scammer didn't even know which school his son attended. She said, "But I expect you to have the school's details," to which the scammer replied, "Why?" Yes, he really did say that. My reader refused to send any money to the scammer, who then turned abusive and then threatening, sending her some indecent photos, saying, "What if you find this in your country's newspapers, on Facebook wall and the rest?" And then trying to blackmail her, saying, "I am giving you 24 hours to call the number I gave to you." 2 is already in my reader's sister's Facebook inbox, and 2 with a lady who is close to your sister, and she will call you later because I've also given her your mobile number to let you know what I sent to her. $7,000 or else all of them will go public in the next 24 hours if you don't call the number I gave you. My reader refused to be intimidated and told the scammer, "Go ahead and do what you want to do. This person doesn't even look like me, so go ahead and use your filthy pictures. I do not care. You ain't getting any money from me, not even a cent." Many of these romance scammers are ruthless bullies and do whatever they feel it takes to extort money from their victims. A reply that was left to this post on the blog underlines 2 of the points that I've already made. One, that some of the scammers will claim to be serving in the Middle East, and the other, that children are often used as a reason for asking for money. The reply said, "I became a contact over Skype with Lovis Jack Nelson. On Skype he told me he was a US general as a UN peacekeeper in Syria," and then went on to say, "and I sent him money for his son." The next story was from a reader who received a friend request on Facebook from a man calling himself Terry Phillips. She told me, "I received a friend request on Facebook and realised this guy is scamming me. We spoke via email about 5 times and suddenly the darling kisses messages came through. He keeps asking for my telephone number so the courier company can contact me, etc., etc. Here are the last 2 emails." This is what started to make my reader suspicious. He said, "I don't know if I have told you what is inside the parcel of the gift before." Do you know what I put inside the parcel? I put the sum of £100,000, electronic dictionary, a model HP laptop, gold wristwatch, Apple iPhone, brown envelope sealed, flowers, 7 copies of my photograph, Manchester United Football Club jersey, and others that I want them to be a surprise to you, ha ha. Honey, the £100,000 is for you to help me pay for the apartment where I will stay. In the next email, he said, please baby, can you also enclose your cell number so that the courier agent can contact you when the gift arrives your country, because I'm planning to send it tomorrow because I will be going offshore by Wednesday. Waiting your reply, kisses. I'm quite sure that if my reader had replied to this, the next email would have been a request for money to pay the courier company. But note the classic scammer technique in these emails of repeatedly calling their victim honey and baby. And finally, the story sent to me by a reader who said I fell hard for a romance scammer who told me his name was David Woods. She said he kept me under his spell on Yahoo Messenger after meeting him on Match.com for 3 weeks, depriving me of sleep and hypnotising me with heart and flower environments, words of love he copied and pasted in emails, and a very sexy accent which I could not place. He told me he was Italian, but didn't know the language when I wrote or spoke to him. She added, I was ripe for the picking due to my husband dying over 9 years ago and not going out since that time. And in that sentence is the reason why so many people fall for these romance scammers. They've joined dating websites or accepted a friend request because they're looking for love, and that automatically makes them vulnerable because, as I've said before, they're looking for someone who will say nice things to them, who will send them online hearts and flowers, who will call them honey and baby, and who will make them feel loved and wanted. The sad thing is that the very things that these vulnerable victims are looking for are also the red flags that you're talking to a scammer. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please like it, please share it, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again in another Keep Safe on the Net video on YouTube.